Hi, I'm Liz.
And I'm Catalina.
And we're here from Physiomed just to go through a few exercises for you so you're able to master your New Year's resolution and doing that pain-free and injury-free. Alright, the first exercise we're going to go over is the squat. Pretty popular exercise, but there's a few things that you want to watch out for and make sure that you have proper mobility into all of your joints so that you're not creating compensation and actually creating a little bit of an imbalance in your body with a really great exercise. So first you want to make sure that the spine's aligned when you're going through the movement, so we can use a dowel or a broomstick, whatever you've got handy. Just align that up along the back, so make sure that you've got your points of contact. You've got the head, the mid-back, and right in towards the low back. Make sure you keep the core engaged so the belly is tight, and then you can drive your hips down, again initiating with the hips, lower them down, making sure that you're not collapsing forward and then coming back up. So make sure that you always find your depth, right? Make sure that the movement is pain-free, and just stop when you might experience some of that pain and just hold there, encouraging the body to find that activation versus pushing further into pain and maybe creating some problems.
So the second exercise that we're going to do is a modified pull-up. It's really important to incorporate this into your workout only because it involves a lot of upper body strength, and that's important, and it's something that a lot of people are lacking nowadays. So we're going to use the bar to help us in the assisted pull-up. So starting with the hands facing towards you, they're going to be lined up with the shoulders. You're going to go into a bit of a squat position with it, and the feet are going to be stable on the ground. So for this exercise, you want to focus on bringing the traps down and retracting the scapula in order to properly activate those back muscles. You're going to slowly pull yourself upwards, nice and controlled, going back down at the same pace. Making sure that you take a deep breath in on the way up and deep breath out when you go back down. Awesome.
Alright, the third exercise we want to show you is a push-up. Here we're going to show you sort of an incline. You don't always have to be on the ground or full body weight. This is a great way to sort of modify yourself and make sure that you've got form perfected before you really bear down and get into the full parallel push-up. So a few things that you want to watch out for. You want to make sure that the body's in a straight line, so you're not letting the back sag, and you're also keeping the shoulders nice and tight. Whenever you go down into the push-up, just make sure that the elbows are sort of drawing back, so go ahead and lower down, squeezing the elbows in, and then pushing through the chest or the palms to come up, feeling the chest activate. Good. Exhale as you lower down. Inhale, you're going to push back up. Excellent. Make sure you use those breath mechanics. Exhale to lower, inhale to come up, and then obviously you can slowly gauge your way down just using the bar on a lower level.
So the fourth exercise that we're going to talk about today is the modified dead bug. So dead bug is really important because it really teaches proper core stability and activation. It really also focuses on proper pelvic stability as well. So one of the main cues that you want to focus on with this is making sure that the belly button and the ribs are getting pressed down into the ground. You don't want the ribs flaring up. You want to really feel that you're pushing yourself down into the mat. The other thing that you want to focus on too is that when you are keeping this contraction, that you're inhaling and exhaling properly throughout the whole motion. You can also add in a dynamic march at the end as well to really help challenge the core activation, because you want to ensure that you are keeping the core tight while you're slowly lowering the leg. So as you lower the leg, you shouldn't be feeling that lower back moving. You should be strictly feeling it in the front of the pelvis. Good.
Alright, the last exercise we have is the deadlift or the hip hinge pattern. This is extremely important to make sure that you have this movement pattern down before you add any external load. You want to make sure that you're really engaging the core and keeping a neutral spine, and that you're engaging through the hips and the hamstrings to create that power. So a good way to make sure your form is down is you can again use the dowel, lining the dowel up along the spine, into the head, the mid-back, and the low back. Getting the client to hinge forward, keeping all those points, a soft bend into the knees so that you're not straining the hamstrings. Go to the point where you feel that stretch, and then you can push through the heels to drive back up. Good. Again, just hinging forward, exhaling, and then inhaling to drive up and stand straight, right? Make sure you're not extending as you come up, and just keeping that neutral spine. Beautiful. Alright, so now that you guys have all of your movement patterns down pat, we can advance them a little bit. So we can either add on weight or make the exercise a little bit harder. So for our squat, we're gonna make it a goblet squat by throwing a weight into the front of our chest, so either a kettlebell or just a free dumbbell. So here, same things apply. You wanna keep the spine nice and tall and neutral, and make sure that you're activating right from the belly all the way up towards a tall chest. Belly in, front ribs in, and keeping the chest tall. You're gonna take an inhale, lower yourself down to the bottom. Good, and then as you drive up, you're gonna exhale, bracing the rib cage in. Good. Inhale the lower, exhale, drive up.
A way for us to progress your pull-up variation while still being able to keep your form, we're going to incorporate a TheraBand because it still allows you to continue to add a little bit of body weight but still keep the movement pattern in your comfort zone. So you're going to line your hands up with shoulder width apart, and you're going to make sure that the traps and the scapula are retracted. Using the back muscles, you're going to pull yourself up and slowly lower yourself back down. Deep breath in on the way up, and deep breath out on the way back down. Slow and controlled.
Alright, if you're ready to take your push-ups from the bar all the way down to the mat and use your full body weight, there's just a few things that you want to be cautious of. Just make sure that you're really engaging the hands so that you're protecting the wrist, as well as creating a lot of stability into the shoulder joints. So you want to make sure that they're stacked right under the shoulders, and again, you're really engaging the hands. You're going to step to full plank, keeping the belly tight, the rib cage in, and the sternum long. You're going to take an exhale to lower down, inhale to power up. Good, exhale to lower, inhale to come up.
So now to advance the dead bug a little bit more so we can continue to challenge and stabilize the core, we're going to incorporate a hand and leg march simultaneously. So you're going to set yourself up the same way we did with the initial one. You're going to have the legs in a forward march and the arms in an upward position. You're going to activate the core the same way as well. Remember, you want the ribs and the belly button coming downwards into the mat to avoid any space between the back and the mat. You're going to simultaneously lower one arm and leg at the same time, keeping the core engaged. Deep breath in as you're slowly lowering, deep breath out as you're coming back. Now you're going to simultaneously to the other side, still keeping that core engaged the entire time. So you should be really feeling a lot of tension while you are doing this, and any pain in the lower back is a sign that you're not doing it correctly.
Alright, so now that you have your deadlift pattern down pat, you're going to be advancing with a little bit of weight. Alright, so you're going to approach the bar, you're going to get the toes nice and close underneath the bar, bending deep in towards the hips and the knees. You're going to grab with the arms, shoulder width apart. Here you want to make sure that the core is engaged and that you're squeezing the shoulder blades down and back, creating tension into the arms. From here you can start to initiate the movement, just lifting out of the hips slightly. Good. This is where your hip hinge really starts. From here, you're going to drive through, exhaling to come up, standing nice and straight. Make sure you get that little bit of a posterior tilt of the hips at the top, squeezing the glutes. And then you're going to exhale, lower back down. Good. Inhale, drive through the heels, stand nice and straight. Exhale, hip hinge, lower the bar. Good. Keep the head nice and neutral so you're not straining in towards the neck, and keeping lots of tension between the shoulder blades.
So now that you have those movement patterns and cueing methods, make sure that you incorporate them when you're executing your New Year's resolution workouts.
Just remember that pain and injury can happen, but it isn't going to ultimately stop you from moving. Visit your nearest Physiomed and find out more specific things that you can do for your injuries to keep you moving and keep you obtaining your New Year's resolution goals.